It's about to be a good day today. Real good. Uh-huh. What's good? What's good? What is good? Today is Monday here in the House of Kantrama. That means it's Mental Health Monday. I'm your host, King Kantrama, the man of madness, the curator of chaos. Don't start trouble in my house. Today, I want to discuss cosplay. Now, you're going to notice we got straight into it, because something disturbs me today real bad. Okay. And do you know what that is? The fact that people are losing their lives over what's essentially a fucking joke. Okay. I'm not saying that people can't, do what they want to do. I will never say that. But it's like, how the fuck are people really out here dying over something like cosplay? I don't understand it. I do not understand it at all. I don't understand it at all. Right? I don't understand it at all. Why are people dying over frivolous shit? Why? I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hey, Mama Bear, how you feeling, baby? You are hard to catch on stream. I be looking in the Discord, it be like, hey, Mama Bear streaming, and then bada bing, bada boom, shit be going crazy. Pine Box Candidate, welcome back to the House of Kantrama. A lot of mental health issues nowadays. I'm glad we about to learn some shit today. All right? Because I'm about to show you some shit that fucked me up, right? Give me a second. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Yo, you do be trying, Mama Bear. You do try. Because I be really looking. I'm like, I be up until like 3 a.m. I don't be getting nothing. I am here for mental health. All right, well, you right on cue. Let's bump the music for a minute, right? The way that I run Mental Health Mondays, it's really a bit of a monologue in a way, but I do like input. So if you have something that's hitting you different or awkwardly as we discuss things, please do not feel restricted at all to speak here, because I'm going to listen to you. My mental health is fucked. LOL, no lube, bruh. We all like that. Everybody thinks they're normal until they look at what normal is. And by normal, I mean things that actually benefit us or any typical human by and large. If you had more money than you had options, 90% of your mental health issues wouldn't matter because you could do whatever you wanted. So that's stress one. If you had the ability to have the perfect partner, wife or husband, whatever it is, that will be stress off your shoulders. If you didn't have to argue or fight with anybody, you'll be perfectly fine. It'd be stress off your shoulders. Okay? Hold up, my co-star is here. Give me 1 second. Yes, the mic stand is a co-star. I love this fucking thing. This shit's hot. But when we're talking about cosplay, right? Let me see if I can, I'm gonna try this. Now, I know I ain't gonna do it right off the rip, but just bear with me, all right? Oh, it popped straight up. Nice. This is my dashboard. Don't mind that. Let's go to cosplay definition. That'd be better. All right. Cosplay. Make sure we good. Can y'all see it? Good. The practice of dressing up as a character from a movie, book, or video game. The issue that I have with this very subject matter is that people value too much of not being themselves. They value it way too much. That means there are people right now that will dress up as Rogue on Monday, and that motherfucker's going to be Rogue until Friday. And then on the weekend, they're going to be some random ass character nobody's heard of and hide out in a damn cave for the next 3 years straight or whatever the fuck, right? But that is not the issue for me. That is the most relevant part of this. Let me see. Let me see if I can remember her name. Cosplayer recently passed. Hello. The cosplayer who recently passed away is Ashley, known online by the handle SquidKid1111. They were 19 years old. 19 years old. I do not keep up with anything cosplay related. Circumstances of passing. While an official cause of death was not immediately revealed by their family, multiple sources within the anime and cosplay communities, including A Dose of Anime, indicated that their death was a suicide, heavily influenced by relentless online racism, colorism, and harassment. This is the core of what we're going to be talking about today. Are y'all ready for that? Are y'all prepared to have this conversation? Because I know I am. The very second I saw it, I knew I was ready for this conversation. Because as someone who's attempted suicide before, something like this bothers me on a really gross level. Because this young lady was only 6 crisscross apples. Why are you like this? What the fuck? I was only 3 years older than her. And I had just recently had a kid at that time. Astonishing shit, right? What pisses me off about this exact subject matter is the fact that it's online racism, colorism, and harassment. Ash, who was black, reportedly faced constant bullying for cosplaying as characters who were typically portrayed as light-skinned or non-black. This is important. These comments exacerbated their existing struggles with depression, which ultimately led to the tragic outcome. Community reaction. The news has sparked significant dialogue and an outpouring of grief within the community, with many creators speaking out against online toxicity and calling for greater awareness of mental health and racism in the anime and cosplay spaces. And if you know someone, if you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide or self-harm, confidential support is available. You can call or text 988 and you will have somebody pretty much set you up to be in a hospital for a little bit, right? The interesting thing about this is I believe that this is a safe bet. Now, y'all can stop me if I'm wrong. Please feel free to correct me here. It is so awkward to me that in this world, there is this supposed solidarity that is expected of black people, that essentially, if it's not black, it's whack. Right? That if you are not the next Dr. Umar Johnson waiting in line, that essentially you are failing at being a black person. As though being black is supposed to be a never-ending test of how other black people see you. All right, cool. The thing that bothers me is when you look at the lineup, let's click on images for this. When you look at the lineup here you're seeing of people cosplaying characters, by and large, they are not black. By and large, they are not black. I like this Frozone right here. That's funny. Right there. They are not typically black. Okay. What's good, Ty? The severe importance of this isn't to go, aha, see, that's what you get because you were not playing, you were playing a non-black character. That ain't got shit to do with it. Let's just keep this in mind. Who are all these men you showing? These are women, sir. Either women doing cosplay or even young men who are playing in the cosplay space. But woman. Today, don't start today. This ain't today. Just follow. No, seriously. Like all the way serious, because this shit got me pissed off. So, when we're talking about, because if you want to be more technical here, men typically look like men. Like there's no getting around that. Even feminine presenting, still a man. You're a dumbass. Oh my God. Anyhow, when it comes to this space, right? The grand majority of characters are not black. Even when a choice is given, even when a choice is made available, people are not picking to be a black character. That's just not what's happening. You're not about to go to any Comic-Con of any kind and see 1,000 black dudes running by as Blade. It ain't happening. But you'll see a black Goku. You'll see a black Goku. You're going to see a lot of things of that gender or race bend on these characters because people want to be in the space. That shit is creepy. I don't care what that character is. But because we were called lame, the thing about it is that, bro, in the history of us knowing each other, I don't give a fuck how much we liked Pokemon, Demi Kids, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I bet not never see one of us run around with the Millennium Puzzle in their goddamn chest talking about some Heart of the Cards. Nigga, we getting laughed at by each other. So let's not even play that. That's not even real. Okay. There is a space for this stuff, but that's not what it was. Just having or owning Yu-Gi-Oh cards got you laughed at. You was about to walk around and act like you was a 7-year-old boy on one end and then a 70-year-old pharaoh on the other just to play a character. You wasn't about to do that shit. And robbed. There you go. So you know what I'm talking about. It goes without, it goes without any level of stress on that. But this is where we at with it, right? Again, the greater majority of the characters on this screen are not black. But if it was up to us, we wouldn't be judged amongst each other. But it was up to us because we were only around each other. You see what I'm saying? We had our moments, but we knew that at the end of the day, we would still have to come back to reality and deal with that space of supposed solidarity. We know that. That's a fact. Okay? Because there's a reason why me, you, Dante, Lee, all made it through Phil in terms of the fucking brotherhood. But there's a reason why we don't hear from Adrian that often. There's a reason why L ain't a part of that group no more. There's a reason why some niggas ain't make the cut. And that's because they didn't fit within the dynamic of our solidarity. That's a fucking fact, right? So since we know that that's a fact, we can't then turn around and pretend that taking that same ideology of solidarity and bringing it into a space that starts with the core function of it being how the character is represented, you can't expect that level of equality because you can't have solidarity and equality. Either you stand alone or you stand equal. There is no in between. You either stand alone or you stand equal. And all of this, yes, has a lot to do with what's going the fuck on up here, okay? It has a lot to do with it. So, let's take, let me see something. Brutal facts. Brutal facts are people don't always have the option to be or act normal. You know what? I'm glad you said that. Let's address that real quick, right? Let's address that. The thing about normality, right? The thing about being normal is, matter of fact, we're not even going to go by my word. Let's see what Google got to say about it, right? Normal definition. I love that I can do this now. This is so dope. Conforming to a standard, usual, typical, or expected. I understand that everybody isn't going to be normal, but I do understand that we all understand that abnormality screams at us when we see something out of the norm, right? Does that mean that you have to be that way? No. But that also means you're accepting the responsibility of trying to stand equal in a place where you want solidarity. You cannot have both, okay? You cannot be both. You cannot be individual and equal. There's no such thing. Think about it. If let me see, social standard, even then, unless you live in a society where wolves are the president and bears actually are looking forward to women, to, leaving their men, unless you're living in that space, guess what? You don't get a fucking choice. You don't get a fucking choice. And you know why you don't get a choice? Because if you try to be all of you everywhere, somebody's going to shut that shit down. You can't be all of you everywhere. But you know where you can be you? In your house. You know where you can be you? Anywhere where people like you, think like you. Only in places of solidarity can you be completely you. That's it. If you go to a church, a Christian church, guess what? If you're a Christian, you'll fit right in. But if you're Jewish, you're not going to fit in. because you're not going to align. It's not the same thing. You cannot preach for solidarity and then preach equality. Which brings me back to this young lady here. I am very upset and sad that she passed at 19 because of the criticism and racism she faced as a result of just being a cosplayer, right? So let's go and see what character she cosplayed, right? Images. Okay. I like this. The downside about this is that when you sign up to enter a space that is not typically for or I should say goes against a specific ideology, then you're going to have an issue, right? You enter a space where you get to be in costume. You get to be this whole different version of yourself, right? I love to see you. I love it. I love it. Get to see you typing closer to your... Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. I'm tipsy, but then fingers moving on the keyboard. You're stupid, yo. Shut up. When it comes to the reality, she's walking into a space, but that space already has representation, right? If you're playing as Goku, made by Akira Toriyama, it's safe to say that they were not thinking, oh, I want a black person to play Goku. That's not what the fuck they were thinking, okay? The closest we got to a black person in that show is 2 representations. 2. I would argue they were Piccolo and Mr. fucking Popo, and they made that motherfucker blue because him being black with the red lips was considered racist. Or did we forget so soon? That was a thing, yeah. For those that don't know who Mr. Popo is, right? That's Mr. Popo. This is the closest we got to a black character in Dragon Ball Z, right? Why was Mr. Popo blue? This is what they turned him into, so let's see why, right? Mr. Popo was colored blue in certain American TV broadcasts of Dragon Ball Kai due to a censorship decision to address concerns that his original design was a racist stereotype. This change, which also saw his lips turned yellow, was made to avoid the appearance of blackface, which was a criticism leveled against his design by some viewers and activists in the West. Original design, Mr. Popo was originally designed with black skin and red lips. So, just to kind of expedite this, we're going to go to, what is it? This right here, the really big lips up against the darker tone, was how we were represented. It is how we were represented in a lot of old school cartoons. And when people were doing blackface, this right here would be a representation of a white person's lips while they have black skin on their face. This is that representation. Okay? This is how we as black people were represented in the West, here in the West, right? When it came to our image being provided. This is what we were fucking told. This is what we were expected to look like. A bunch of big lip fucking niggas. That's what it is. Not even niggas, niggers. Let's be clear here. Okay? This is not a race lesson to then make anybody feel down about whatever has already transpired. But this is the point I'm making. This is how we were represented. Slow down and follow your boy, right? Now, let's look at Goku. Just what do you think he was modeled after? Based on the representation of us in the West, what the fuck was Goku modeled after? Monkeys, Frieza, exactly. Monkeys, right? Big Frieza voice. Like, I'm trying to tell you something, right? Got you. Hold on. But yeah, we're talking about the representation. The representation is so deathly important to how we perceive certain things. Now, a person could argue, well, he don't look Asian particularly, but he looks closer to white than he does black, right? There's a reason for that. Now, let's use All Might. Am I making sense here? Just that alone should tell you the kind of space you're walking into. Let's take Inuyasha. Inuyasha. He looks like some weird form of Goku, his damn self, right? When we're looking at these different characters, you got to take into consideration that the people that made these characters are doing it from their own viewpoint, their own solidarity. That's what they're doing. So when you enter their space of solidarity and then go, hey, I want to be equal, you're going to have a problem because solidarity and equality don't mix. All right. But in mythology, Son Goku is monkey looking. Okay. This is what we're talking about right here. This would be Wukong, more not Goku. Let this be a bigger point. Let this be a bigger point. He looks closer to a black person than I argue Goku does. Now, a person could argue, well, when he goes Super Saiyan, this is what he looked like. Or when he go Monkey Saiyan, this is what he looks like. But in the same breath, the core representation of Goku is this, not the monkey form. The monkey form is what they would consider a fucking anomaly. It's a mistake. Even though this is a part of their natural ability and their natural growth, it is considered obsolete at this point. To become this big ass form is pointless. That's why the strongest form Goku has now is what? That's his strongest form. That's his strongest form. Not the monkey form. This is his strongest form. This is the representation that leans itself to these issues in these cosplay spaces. Because let's look at most popular event for cosplay. We're gonna hit all. I would argue probably Comic-Con or something, right? It's trying to figure it out. Damn, that's how you know it's bad. The World Cosplay Summit, Comic-Ket. Oh, here's a good one. First event for cosplay. The first one was the World Cosplay Summit, which began in 2003 and was a part of Expo 2005 in Nagoya, fucking Japan. What did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? Washing? What are you trying to say? Hold on. What did you think was going to happen? There was no fucking functional reason for that crossover generally for us to even be in that space, because we already walked in a space that wasn't all, it did not readily represent us. It did not readily represent us. That does not make it okay. But we must acknowledge that it didn't readily represent. If somebody started an event for the very first time and it was in fucking Compton, no one would question if black people were going to show up. No one would question it because nobody would be surprised, because they would think it's coming from the core of where we stand in solidarity, which is a black neighborhood, Compton, right? Or Newark, New Jersey, or Irvington, or wherever the fuck else, where black people just thrive and just live everywhere, right? If you start something there, they're going to expect black people to show up. But I'm pretty sure if you go to some random city in Iowa or Maine, your ass going to be like, yep, white people. That's going to be what it is. Because that's how it works. It's always worked that way. Why do you think we walk around? That wasn't for us. I mean, but I'll take it a step further. How many times has anyone within earshot of this conversation, how many times have y'all heard, hey, yo, so-and-so, referring to some generic white person, is invited to the cookout? The cookout is supposed to represent some form of black solidarity, right? I look at that the same way I look at Comic-Con or the World Cosplay Summit in Nagoya, Japan. Okay? This is what I'm seeing. Damn, that Wolverine seen better days, huh? But black culture isn't as reliable unless it's music or sports. Well, but there's a thing here, right? Even in music, at the very least, we got Eminem, best white rapper on one end, but then I would argue one of the best rappers, period. But the first time you say that, everybody wants to find solidarity all of a fucking sudden. Oh, nah, see, if it wasn't for KRS-One and, fucking Run DMC, man, there'd be no rap. And without them, it wouldn't be no M. And never mind the fact that we don't even support the people that come out that's black. So what are we talking about? Oh, the only reason he's so important is because he white. So you're telling me they can enter our spaces and do well, but we can't enter their spaces and do well. What is that telling you? That's telling you something. Okay? And do you know who put M here? A black man. So what are we talking about? And mind you, this is bigger than race. We're talking about solidarity and equality. You don't get both, one or the other. Do you think if Eminem was walking around right at this moment and took zero accountability for who he was prior to this point, and was walking around saying nigger this and nigger that, I hope niggers is this and that, and that, if he was walking around like that right the fuck now, his market would tank. It would tank. And you know why it would tank? Because nobody would stand for that shit, knowing full well we live in tumultuous times where you can't say shit like that unless you want to get your head knocked off. That's just what it is. That's just what it is, all right? It sounds unfair and it sounds unjust, but it is what the fat fuck it is, god damn it, whether you like it or not. But back to this cosplay shit. The key component is that you're playing in a costume. Jean-Michel Basquiat, well, with him, I would argue let's take this representation. Hold on. It is part of culture. You don't see people in those areas picking up trash and mowing their neighbors' lawns to be kind. But in other cultures, it be like that. Correct. That is true. But even with that being said, we're not, I don't want the bigger point to be missed that, you know what, when I get a chance, I want to restore that photo. I'm going to restore that. I like that photo. I do. And I restore by hand in case anybody's wondering. Like I will actually like go into Photoshop and break the photo down and look at it and make sure it's cleaned up and really sharp. It's going to look cool when I'm done. Basically, when I look at this, damn, Elaine from Seinfeld look crazy. But when I see this, I am overwhelmed with different emotions strictly because this young lady died, right? And then it was blamed on racism, colorism, and harassment. But it's like, and this is going to be the most unfortunate shit in the world, you get what you pay for. You cannot stand in a place of solidarity to go racism and colorism, and then on the other end expect equality in a space that doesn't best represent you. And I say that to make this point. Most of these characters are typically white. Most of these characters are typically white. His art could have been taken far beyond what we know, but the world decided that wasn't our space. I mean, we don't even decide it, because I didn't even really know who he was until I got older, but he's been around longer than I think I've been. How old is this young man? Let me not tell lies. I don't want to tell no lies, right? And after I look this up, I'm going to go back to the main point, right? Because I don't want to keep deviating. Age. Oh, he died at 27, right? It says he's 27 and he died. So, when was he born is the question. When was Jean-Michel Basquiat born? I gotta go to all, sorry. Okay, so like I thought, he's significantly older than I am, right? I was born in 87. Minus the fact that he died young, okay? With that being said, when I look at this, you'll be like, oh, we decided that wasn't our space. And I would argue in the 1960s, 70s, chances are we weren't going to do but so much. But look, was an American artist who rose to success during the 1980s, even if it was our space. But do you know what our space is? Graffiti. That's our space. Right? Hold up. Who created the trend of graffiti? Might as well look it up. Daryl Cornbread McCray. You know he black. Come on now. Okay. That's just what it is. The term wild style was popularized by the wild style graffiti crew formed by Tracy 168 of the Bronx, New York in 1974. Like, a thing is a thing is a thing, man. You can't beat that. That's why hip hop includes graffiti art as a part of its, a part of its marker of reality. Anywho, when we're talking about cosplay, you're talking about how you are when you're talking about cosplay, you are talking about how you choose to represent yourself. Yeah, Cornbread was fucking crazy. That was insane. You are discussing how you choose to represent yourself in a space that was heavily designated based on who created it, okay? Based on who created it. Based on who created it, okay? For instance, I've never seen a black Wonder Woman. I mean, I've seen it in cosplay, but in terms of representation, do you know what made Wonder Woman so special? The fact that she was as strong as standalone woman who was just extremely powerful. She was like the woman's woman, if you will. She was fucking gorgeous. She was strong as shit. She was independent as hell, well-trained, highly disciplined. She was the marker. She's the female fucking Superman, essentially, right? She was the marker of womanhood. Why do you think she called her Wonder Woman? Because she's a wonder, unlike in today's time where we gotta wonder if it's a woman. Look, the point is that when we're talking about the reality of something, right? When we're talking about the reality of something, we have to discuss the representation of the thing before we can start talking about the imitation of the thing, okay? That's important. That's extremely fucking important. It doesn't matter whether or not you want to do that thing. It's about what the fuck it represents, okay? How it's represented will determine what the outcome will be. How it is represented will determine what the outcome will be. Now, let's go back and look up one of the most played out ass fucking cosplays is Harley Quinn. And even in the cosplay space, majority white women run it. I can't tell if that's like a doll or that shit look crazy. But do you know how many people play this fucking character? Bro, it starts with the classic. No, it starts with the less than classic to the Suicide Squad Harley, to the non-classic, to the Suicide Squad, to this version of Harley, which is like Deadpool kind of looking. And then we got non-classic, we got Suicide Squad, closer to classic, some weird hybrid mix, back off class. These are the first few. Meanwhile, this is where we started. But at the end of the day, when you look at Harley as a fucking character, right? This is Harley. This woman is Harley Quinn. Period. This is Harley, give or take. I know that's a celebrity, but I don't care about that. This is classic Harley right here. Less than classic, but Harley nonetheless. Harley and the Joker. People pick what is most sexualized or the most popular. And then they decide to branch out from that because, and this is where it all becomes relevant, and this is what pisses me off about this young lady's death, is that they said that her last thing that she did was, I think, Mirko, right? This is Mirko. And by every stretch of the imagination, goddamn, right? Let's just call a thing. Muscle mommy head ass, right? She's strong. But now, skin tone wise, it's safe to say that she is more close, or she's closer to black than not, right? But it is based on who created it. That's the representation. The skin tone, oh, she's just a dark skinned Asian. She's not black like the way that you and I are black, bro. She's not black the way that you would see people in Africa be black. Okay, they're not black like Newark, New Jersey is black. Okay, that's not the same fucking thing. The representation is different. You should expect pushback because you are not the one that created it. You are not the one that created the space for this to be the thing, right? But now let's say, bump that, most popular female cosplay characters. Look at the top of the list. Was I wrong? I didn't pick it. There goes Harley, Wonder Woman. I feel like I should know who this is, but it's escaping me. I know that I think she's from like Attack on Titan or some shit. Tifa Lockhart, Sailor Moon. Hanata, I believe. I'm not sure. She looks like a weird version of Bayonetta. Vincent Valentine, gender bent. Bam. Ash or Red, either one. And who criticized her? Was it only one race or one race of people? Okay, so let's be clear here. In the cosplaying space, you are subject to everyone's criticism. If you are black and you're playing Goku, an Asian dude, a white dude, and an Indian dude might all come at you and be like, that's not you. That might be the case. Okay? That's the risk you run when you go into a space that you did not create. I don't know. I don't know the full story. Well, let's see. Here we go. Let's start here. The 19-year-old cosplayer's death has reignited conversations about racism and harassment faced by black creators and fan communities. Let's be clear here. Racism and harassment faced by black creators and fan communities. Think about that part. Fan communities. They didn't say anime conventions because where else the fuck are you wearing this? You're not just walking around like that randomly, and if you are, you might be a bit unhinged based on the social standing. Allegations of relentless harassment. In the days following the announcement, Do I have to even read any further? Do I have to read any further? Do I need to read any further? I don't think I do. I think that says the fuck all, does it not? Well, the anime-focused social media page. Black creators, really? I mean, yeah. I know it's a bit of an oxymoron in some cases, but follow me. A dose of anime shared images of Ash in costume alongside claims that the creator faced persistent racist harassment. Let's click on it. I don't know why I would do this. That was stupid. Why would it go anywhere other than where the fuck you're talking about? We're not doing that. Bam. According to the post, community members suspected Ash died by suicide after enduring continuous attacks targeting their appearance and choice of characters to portray. Watch. Ash died by suicide after enduring. That means you getting your ass whipped, right? Continuous attacks. Think Chun-Li on a turbo controller, but all the kick buttons is jammed down. Targeting their appearance and choice of characters to portray. Is it because that space wasn't designed for you? Because if it was, this wouldn't be the conversation. And keep in mind, I want to be crystal clear here. I'm not blaming her for her death. I'm not. I'm very upset that all of the criticism and shit hit her the way that it did. When I tried to commit suicide, it was because my morals and values were being constantly attacked in reference to being a father. And every time I tried to stand on them, the worst things got. And because I valued it so much, I put it above my life. So if I couldn't win there, then I didn't want to live. And that was enough for me to try to commit suicide. And I've been on a mental health journey ever since. Right? With all of that being fucking said, though, okay? With all of that being said, there needs to be an honesty here, okay? Realistically, there was no reason for that to be the case when ultimately everybody wants to cry solidarity. Meanwhile, black characters that do exist, okay. Context clues, my boy. Context clues. It says racist. It's more than likely that we're not talking about black to black. Can we agree on that? I didn't say it. I don't even know who this person is. I just saw it. And I'm like, yeah, that shit ain't triggering right. The harassment allegedly centered on Ash's decision to cosplay light-skinned or non-black characters, including Ellen Jo from the game Zenless Zone Zero, which is a gacha game, which is what is notoriously known in Japan as a thing. Critics reportedly bombarded Ash with comments about their skin tone, their right to... Okay. I think we've opened up an entirely different bag of worms on that, but Ash with comments about their skin tone, questioning their right to embody characters who did not share their racial identity. The page suggested these attacks exacerbated existing struggles with depression, contributing to a tragic outcome that might have been prevented. While specific details about the harassment remain unverified, the allegations align with documented patterns of abuse that Black cosplayers have reported for years. Okay? It's slippery with this. Yeah, but let's just finish the point, because it's not about, again, it's not about the fact that something happened or did not happen. We're expressing the idea of what it means to even be a cosplayer. And it's not just about her specifically, it's about how we view ourselves when we decide to come out into this world. When we decide to come out and go, I'm not going to be me today, I'm going to be this motherfucker. Now you got to eat this motherfucker's accountability for everything this motherfucker chose to do, even though you were wearing his skin or her skin. You have to live in that. And this is a part of that, especially when no one wants to address the fact that just because you like it doesn't mean you're welcome to have it. Okay? That's a fact. It comes with the deal of being in a space you did not create. That's the point here. Okay? Now, the allegations align with documented patterns of abuse that Black cosplayers have reported for years. The practice of cosplaying while Black has become fraught with racism from multiple directions as creators face accusations of either appropriating characters or failing to represent their own racial identity adequately. Why am I even talking? I've never read this article until today. Let's be clear, y'all. I never read this article before today. But the people we want to portray be the main people who don't like Black. I agree. But that's the point I'm making here. Just follow me for a second, right? The practice of cosplaying while Black has become fraught with criticism from multiple directions as creators face accusations of either appropriating characters, much like Blackface or Mr. Popo, or failing to represent their own racial identity adequately, creating an impossible standard that white cosplayers rarely encounter. But if somebody white decides, hey, I'm going to be T'Challa, that nigga about to get shot or beat the fuck up right there in Comic-Con. It ain't going to be no, oh, there go Mirko, there go, fucking Asura, there go fucking Goku. It's going to be Malik, Tyrone, and James beating your ass. That's it. That shit come off. That solidarity kick in. But there's no equality in that now, is it? We know that it's not equal because if we saw a white person playing fucking Black Panther, that would be a fucking issue for the majority of us that are Black. And we know that. But that in and of itself says that there's no equality in that space. So why would you continue to play in that space and then bitch about the shit you're dealing with? All because you want to be Mr. or Mrs. Solidarity. You cannot stand in solidarity and be equal. There's no such thing, okay? That's like being an equal dependent. Nigga, that shit don't work that way. It don't fucking work that way. It never did, okay? It never will. Never has, never will, okay? Never. B-E-R, nigga. Never, all right? Now, shit, got me hot. Got me goddamn hot. Now, it says, cosplay emerged as a celebration of creativity and look, wait. Slow down. Let me run that back. Because we already understand that Black creators have an issue with appropriating characters. And for those that don't know what appropriating is, take something for one's own use, often without permission, or to officially set aside funds for a specific purpose. In this regard, we're going to take something for one's own use, often without permission, okay? Now we go back to this. We go to, or failing to represent their own racial identity adequately. That means, oh, you black, but you chose to play Storm? No, you black, but you chose to play Jubilee? You chose to play Rogue? You chose to play Spiral? You chose to play everybody but Storm. And you black. That's the problem with solidarity. Because at that moment, now you got to be a part of the group think or else you get excluded. But then you can't say, I want to stand in solidarity when it comes to walking into somebody else's space. You can't do that. You're not going to get good results. Look at the fact that we're discussing a 19-year-old who fucking died over fucking cosplay. Something you can literally take off. Something that is not an immutable factor to you. And that's why she's dead. But let me continue. The unequal terrain of fandom. Cosplay emerged as a celebration of creativity and passion for fictional universes. Cosplay emerged as a celebration of creativity and passion for fictional universes, offering participants the freedom to embody any character regardless of personal characteristics. Regardless of personal characteristics. Pause. The practice of cosplaying while black has become fraught with criticism from multiple directions as creators face accusations of either appropriating or failing to represent their own racial identity adequately. So if these two things are the constant case in terms of criticism, doesn't that also mean that this can't exist? Both of those, solidarity and equality, they don't exist at the same time. They can't. They're mutually exclusive. And that was probably the only way she could express herself. I mean, whoops. Because that's what comes with the territory. That's what comes with the territory of being in somebody else's space. That's fucked up, ain't it? How do you think I learned the lesson? Because I know what it's like to try to demand equality in parenthood. Apparently, that's not my space. And the minute I choose to stand in solidarity, and I choose to stand alone, and I choose to go, fuck this, I don't want to die trying to fight for something that don't make no goddamn sense at this point. You know what I get the luxury of being called? Useless or a deadbeat. Doesn't matter that I was fighting this whole time. You can't win. You can't be both. Pick a side. Because especially if the equal side you're trying to be on is excluding you and making it hard for you and creating that negative space, why the fuck would you stay there? Well, this is what I like to do. So you're willing to die for that. I'm not. And that's the difference. Okay? That's the difference. But guess what? I almost did, which is why this affects me. If you don't go to Dubai, you don't know how to be a free woman. That's crazy. I don't know anymore. I mean, this is the reality. People are not playing fair right now. They're just going, hold up, get that shit out of here. Everybody's in such a rush to go, oh, this is that. This should be the case. This shouldn't be the case. This should be the case. Oh, I should be able to. Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If it built a boat, it would be the Titanic, motherfucker. Like, it don't work that way. Okay? If woulda, shoulda, and coulda could do anything, it would be the Titanic if you built a boat out of these details. 100%. Offering participants the freedom to embody any character regardless of personal characteristics. In theory, the hobby exists as a judgment-free space where imagination supersedes appearance. How, when the thing that created the entire space to begin with was based on who created it? Am I dumb? Let me know if I'm dumb. I will accept the criticism right now to be called dumb, and then I want you to correct me if I'm dumb. But reality has proven far more complicated, particularly for creators from marginalized communities who navigate constant scrutiny about their choices. It's because they were never welcome there to begin with. Black cosplayers have long documented hostile responses when they portray characters not explicitly coded as black in source material. The criticism ranges from subtle dismissal to overt racial slurs, which I've actually seen firsthand on people's Instagrams, on X, I've seen occasional moments of that on Reddit. I don't go looking. It's like algorithmically, they're like, hey, you've seen drama and you've interacted with drama. Here's some drama for you. And they just throw it at me. Cool. But the criticism ranges from subtle dismissal to overt racial slurs, often delivered through anonymous social media accounts. This is the most important part right now, right? To everybody that is cosplaying in the actual cosplay space, stop arguing with motherfuckers that can't grow a face. They don't exist. They're not real, okay? They're no different than the voice you hear in your head when you go out here and do whatever the fuck it is you choose to do. Stop arguing with motherfuckers that don't exist, because you're doing it to yourself. And if you want to go that bad, I got a toaster that ain't take a bath in a while and y'all could take it together, because that's crazy. Do not let these little stupid motherfuckers who ain't got a face or got the wherewithal or the balls or the fucking ovarian fortitude to come up to you and tell you how they feel and they face be showing. If they face ain't showing, they don't exist. That simple. We used to wish for chicks to play games with us. Girls used to clown us for it. And girls are more critical themselves than guys' needs are. I feel like that's a bit detracting from this exact thing, but I get what you're saying. The thing about it is that it's not just about girls being gamers or whatever the fuck. It's more along the lines of, in this moment, when freedom of choice is given, you're now meeting the consequence of having the freedom of choice. Because regardless of you're free to make that choice, you still have to eat that. That's bottom line. Now, it says, anonymous social media accounts that face no consequences for their attacks. How can you face something? How can you face the consequence when you don't exist? This dynamic creates an exhausting environment where Black creators must defend their right to participate in communities that claim to welcome all fans. But again, okay, the problem with this is right here, communities that claim to welcome all fans, it's like, you can't block out the core function of the space existing in the first place, which was to represent themselves. That's the whole point. I can look up male cosplayers right now. I'm not going to see Afro Samurai at the top of that list. And there are Black male cosplayers. And we're not going to see we are not going to see Afro Samurai top that list. But you know what I did see today? A Black He-Man. But that makes sense though, right? I don't see people running around here looking like Riley and fucking Huey. Know why? Because that's called every day. They ain't even cosplay at that fucking point. If we cosplay as Black people, unless they are overtly known to be 100% fictional, guess what? We just live in regular, that's a Wednesday. That's a damn Wednesday. That's silly shit. The situation becomes even more perverse when Black cosplayers face backlash for portraying Black characters as well, with critics accusing them of limiting themselves or playing it safe. Now, you telling me, right, that this also exists as a reality within that space. This exists as an absolute reality in that space. The situation becomes even more perverse when Black cosplayers face backlash for portraying Black characters as well, with critics accusing them of limiting themselves or playing it safe. So you lose if you go extreme. You lose if you play it safe. It sounds to me like you need to leave the fucking casino at that point, because the house is definitely trying to win, whether you expect it or not. This Catch-22 reveals the underlying racism that treats black participation in fandom as inherently problem. And I said this before we got to this article, did I not? Chat, did I not do that? Regardless of the choices individual creators make about which characters to embody. Questions without answers for Squid Kid 1111. Ash's death has forced uncomfortable conversations about accountability in online spaces. The cosplay community prides itself on acceptance and creativity, yet these values ring hollow when members of that community drive talented young creators away through systematic harassment. Fandom spaces have become increasingly toxic despite stated comments to inclusivity, with moderation policies that often fail to protect the most vulnerable participants. But the downside about all of that is that this is completely elective. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. And that's me defending Ash. Right? It says the cosplay community prides itself on acceptance and creativity. But as we've already discussed, right? As we've already fucking discussed, the most popular event for cosplay was made in Nagoya, Japan. It is not black as fuck over there. It's not. Technically, for us to even jump into that art and be swimming in it as an absolute, yes, I gotta have it, is in and of itself egregious. It's egregious as fuck. It's egregious, okay? It's egregious. It does not then mean that you can't or shouldn't. But it does mean you have to know where you fit. Okay? Let's subtract cosplay from the conversation for a moment, right? The simple reality is that when you get your job or you're trying to get a job, you can't go in there smelling like yesterday for the last 2 weeks. You can't do that. You have to go in there looking nice, looking presentable, looking like you're there to work the job, let alone get the fucking job, right? That's the truth. You have to look presentable. In a scenario where, hey, I made all these Asian characters with all of these cool ass powers, and they're super strong and they're super amazing, and look at all of this power these Asian characters have. Hey, a black person's playing it. Hey, wait a minute. Wait, go back to your watermelon. We got rice over here. Relax, you're doing too much. Like, could you imagine if that was a conversation that was real? Could you imagine that? That'd be fucking unhinged, wouldn't it? Shit. A black woman playing Sailor Moon would be crazy then. Oh no, my fault. Was that fast enough? There you go. That was quick, right? Didn't even take long. Didn't even have to look. That's definitely Sailor Saturn. We're gonna go ahead and finish out this article, and then that'll be it. All right. Ash's death has forced uncomfortable conversations about accountability in online spaces. The cosplay community prides itself on acceptance and creativity, yet these values ring hollow when members of that community drive talented young creators away through systematic harassment. Fandom spaces have become increasingly toxic despite stated commitments to inclusivity, with moderation policies that often fail to protect the most vulnerable participants. But did she kill it? Yes, her death is considered a suicide at the moment. Yes, absolutely. Did she get backlash? Well, the tragedy also highlights gaps in mental health support for. Yo, I'm just saying. The tragedy also highlights gaps in mental health support for young people navigating online harassment. But see, let me let y'all young people know something, right? Or younger than me people know something. Online harassment is not real. If you're online getting harassed and it's happening all the time, you know what your job is? It isn't to get people to fight for you and reverse harass the people that are online harassing you. You get the fuck off the goddamn internet. That's what you do. Get the fuck off. Because it's your life. You're willing to die for this? Is this the hill you want to die on? The internet? God forbid y'all hear about only. Look, the point is, I'm talking about the Black Sailor Moon you searched. No, she didn't. And she probably did get backlash. She probably did. Because that isn't abnormal. The issue that I have is that there's a mindset that you have before you go into that space. Okay. When you go into a space, you have to understand how you fit in it. Even if it says, hey, everybody is welcome. Yeah, everybody welcome in America in the 1950s, wasn't they? Everybody was real welcome, wasn't they? For all the people that lived here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a thing, right? Everybody welcome everywhere, especially when they could benefit everybody else. Oh, absolutely. What? You a strong man, huh? You can lift 100 pounds. Yeah, I got something for you. Yeah, hey, they're beefing up their units. We got to get rid of them. Let's go. Like, that's how it is. Is what it is. And again, this isn't about black, white, or whatever. This is about the mindset you, the individual, has when you go into these spaces and you cosplay. When you pretend you're something you're not, this is what the fuck can happen to you. Okay? And that doesn't mean it's fair. It is what it is, though. That is the reality that you have to face when you enter these spaces. I don't care if you're trying to go into a relationship and you told her, oh yeah, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm this, that, and the third. Oh, I got all this shit going on. Oh man, yo, my money got tied up on the international side and they won't let me get access to my account. Yo, either you can slide me $5,000 and I get it back to you in a couple of days. Yeah, I'm waiting for that shit to clear. You give up that $5,000 and now I done did that to like 100 people and now I'm running around with $500,000 because y'all stupid. Some spaces ain't for you. And in case you think I'm just saying that just to be saying it, there was a Netflix documentary called The Tinder Swindler. And he did that shit because he knew his space. Isn't blackface cosplay with extra steps? Considering that the cosplay isn't being, well, let's look at that, right? If you're talking about blackface cosplay, we got to discuss that the blackface wasn't designed to show respect to black people. It was designed to insult. So no, it wouldn't be cosplay by any conventional mean. Or I should say it would be cosplay, but there was no consequences to be faced for it. There was zero consequence to be faced for it because they were allowed to do it. It was on national TV before. It's natural. If you look at some old Warner Brothers cartoons, they'll be like, hey, listen, when this cartoon was made at the time, you know, things were different. But now with all of the racial sensitivities that's in the world, we apologize for the depictions that are in this because it was from a time when things was different. They have to give you a disclaimer to fucking laugh at a cartoon rat. Really? That's crazy. But that's because we wasn't designed to be in that space. We were not supposed to be in that space. Okay? And if you think I'm lying, hold on. Disclaimer on cartoons. Disclaimer before old Warner. Oh, here you go. The The cartoons you are about to see are products of their time. They may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. While the following does not represent the Warner Brothers view of today's society, these cartoons are being presented as they were originally created, because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. And then they showed it and got paid for it. So what are these? Can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. Okay. This is and Kate, because I like to make a point. If I'm gonna make a point, I can prove everything I'm saying. Like, it's not an issue. Okay. Anywho, at 19, Ash belonged to a generation that grew up with social media as an inescapable presence, unable to fully separate their creative identity from the platforms where abuse flourished. Get the fuck off the internet. Get the fuck off. Get the fuck off the goddamn internet. Get the fuck off. Get off. Get off. Okay? All F4 control, all delete twice, throw your monitor in the garbage, drown your phone. Get the fuck off the internet. You can separate it. Okay? You don't have to be aligned with the individuality, because at some point you're going to be called to solidarity, and you're going to be alone when it happens, and you're going to be in a space of inequality, and you're going to get fucked. Get the fuck off the internet. Trust me on this, okay? Now, a person could argue, well, ain't you on the internet? Yeah, but I'm alive. Any arguments? Get the fuck off the internet. You're too young for it. Mentally. Or, come on, everybody believes that, oh, when you're 18, you're an adult. I argue that you're not even a fucking, you're not an adult. I would argue until you're about 30, because you don't know shit. You don't know nothing. And you have to learn some shit, and you got to go through some shit to know what you're dealing with. The internet is too big a force for 13-year-olds to be on it, for 14-year-olds to be on it. It's the facts. Not without some supervision. If you know that, if you as a person, if you're like me and you like technology and you can, dance around, pick and choose, you got to know that the person that's on that screen saying whatever they're saying to you, you have to know, wait a minute, I can block them? Oh no, but it's so many people. Yeah, but how many supporters do you have versus detractors? Well, I got 2 million followers, but these 100 people keep saying things to me. Okay, so 2 million minus 100 is a lot of niggas that don't agree with them. So what are we doing? What? You don't have to deal with that. That's not something that you have to put up with. It's not for you to deal with, okay? You don't have to live in that space, y'all. You don't, okay? Like, back when I did my loyalty stream, my loyalty mental health Monday, I had someone who referred to themselves as a trans man in this scenario that she was going through, right? Now, this is what makes it so interesting. When she told me the whole situation, I said, yo, real shit. Fuck the fact of if you're trans or whatever, because that doesn't matter. Because it doesn't change the fact that you still got to eat, still got to shower, still got to take care of yourself, still got to protect yourself. You still got to, don't add more problems to your life than you already got. If these people are here and they're, jumping in and creating a negative space around you, let them the fuck go, because you're too young for this shit. You're 25 and you out here, 30, and you give a fuck about them and they don't give a fuck about you and you trying to protect them. Leave them motherfuckers alone. These ads be 5 minutes. I don't know why, dog. Even when I turned them off, they were still on. So I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh man, when y'all get an ad, feel free to say something. But Ash belonged to a generation that grew up with social media as an inescapable presence, unable to fully separate their creative identity from the platforms where abuse flourished. The tools meant to connect creators with appreciative audiences also expose them to relentless criticism from strangers emboldened by anonymity. If they don't have a face, then they have zero case. Their opinion doesn't matter because they don't even have the balls to tell you straight up. They don't have, you see how I'm talking to you right now? Right in your face right now? You can see my big, beautiful face. You can see that? If I got something to fucking say, I'm gonna say it.
Holy mother of God!
See, why you like this? But in that exact regard, that's what comes to the territory. If I'm right here, I'm going to tell you like, nah, I'm not feeling that. Or nah, do something else. And then if you get mad, I'm going to be like, I understand how you feel. Change it anyway. I don't give a fuck. What, now what? Well, I'm going to beat you the fuck up. I'm like, all I said was words. Now you going to touch me? Now you mad? You that mad? So you want to stand, do you want solidarity or do you want equality? Cause what if the thing about me saying that to you is I don't like none of that shit at all from whoever
You
does
can't
it.
keep getting away with it.
Are you done? But the tools meant to connect creators with appreciative audiences also expose them to relentless criticism from strangers emboldened by anonymity. You don't need to deal with that shit. They're anonymous. They're fake. It's like me telling you, oh, a number of models want to sleep with me. A number of models want to sleep with me. Oh yeah, the prospects are great. There's a number of models. Just for you to discover 10 minutes from now that the number is 0. Like, it's not real, okay? You don't have to see things directed at you and consume them as though they are for you, okay? If I sit a plate of dog shit in front of you because you said you was hungry, are you going to eat it just because you're hungry? And if you do, whose fault is that? You have to find your limit in order to protect yourself. Fuck what other people are doing. As long as they're not physically touching you, then that's it. Got to use the points, bro. Don't want to... Don't want to what? Don't want to pankin? What the fuck is that? I guess you mean the spanking, and I'm going to just look at Bonnie for that. For Ash's followers and fellow cosplayers, the loss represents both a personal grief and a broader reckoning. The community now confronts whether it can transform its culture to prevent future tragedies or whether the structural problems that enable this harassment will continue claiming young lives who dare to pursue their passion in an unforgiving space. Let me reread that 'cause I feel like I missed something. Hold up. The community now confronts whether it can transform its culture to prevent future tragedies or whether the structural problem that enabled this harassment will continue claiming young lives who dare to pursue their passion in an unforgiving space. Okay. And this is my last problem. Everybody can't be at fault for the actions of some. Everybody cannot be the blame for the actions of some, okay? It can't happen. You know why? It's because if I supported you and I loved you and my family loved you and then my friends loved you and then people who we just so happen to associate with also love you, the fact that you went through us to look at the 5 people that didn't and they were the decision makers for you choosing to live or not is insane. When we're sitting right here going, yo, we here. But see, that brings me back to loyalty. People are only loyal. They are only loyal to their right to make a decision because that makes them feel that their decision is always right. And in my opinion, this ain't a space for us. I'm not saying y'all can't look good as fuck. I'm not going to say y'all can't be looking bomb as shit, but now we're talking about a 19-year-old, right? A 19-year-old. She ain't even, she has been lawfully speaking, not scientifically, but lawfully speaking, has been a child longer than she's ever been an adult. She don't know nothing. And nobody guided her from this. Nobody pulled her away from this. Nobody showed her how to deal with this. And that's why she's not here now. Because she had no route to figure it out. She had no route to figure it out, okay? And that's sad as shit. And the worst part about it is that we out here pretending to the fullest of degrees that this is normal. We are pretending that this outcome is fucking normal, okay? We're pretending this, and there's no need to do that. There's literally no reason for you, for anyone to ever cosplay their way through life. Because eventually, one of two things will happen. Either you are going to be faced with the realities and consequences of you ignoring yourself, or you're going to be faced with the realities and consequences of not being yourself. And you've been you longer than you've not been you. So what are you going to do? And that applies to everything. When you're a disrespectful motherfucker because you think, oh, it's just a prank, and then somebody put a gun in your face and blow your brain back to 10 buck fucking 2. Is it still funny? Oh, that's not how I really am. It was just a joke. Oh, that's not who cosplaying? Oh, it's hell on wheels, man. Oh, one more thing. Almost forgot. It is safe to say that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Let's see. Jesus. The problem is that if one of our women wear this outfit, you know what she's going to be looking like? A random Tuesday. But you can't get away with it. Like, oh, Misty Knight, that's the direction you went? I can hear it now. Let's go back one. I don't see a bunch of motherfuckers walking around like Blade, Bishop, Black Panther, a female cyborg. I'm shocked that Storm don't rank higher than Rogue. Sexuality. Monica Rambeau. Who's this? Oh, she must be from the WandaVision. Like, how do you do something like this and it stand away and out for something like cosplay? You got to just ask yourself realistically, if this is the best they could do in terms of creativity toward us, then what kind of space do we really have where the best representations we can emulate are from other classes, are from other races, are from other people? If this is if you want to stand firmly on that cosplay space, then you have to be very careful of this because you're going to lose your solidarity. And I will argue to death, you cannot have both. You can't fit and be separate. There's no such thing. You cannot fit and be separate because one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to distort the puzzle or you're going to distort the piece. So which is it? How long do you plan on cosplaying in your real life before something like that happens to you? Huh? How long you got? There has to be a middle ground somewhere. And until you realize that you can't cosplay forever and that some spaces just don't fit you, guess what? This is going to keep happening. You have to find your limit. And hopefully your limit comes before your life is over. RIP to Squid Kid 1111. because I wish she would have had me at her side before this happened. And the fucked up part about it was it happened like, what, I think a week ago. No, the 13th of November. The 13th of November of this year. That's fucking sickening. Downright fucking sickening. All it does is tell me to tell y'all, focus on being yourself. And if you don't fit, then create a space where you belong. Because no matter what, hate will exist. All I ask is that you don't put a target on your chest when you walk in these spaces. If you can't be Shinobi, be Nightshade. You gotta vanish. Keep yourself out of that level of trouble, because nothing is worth that effort. Nothing is worth that headache. Nothing is worth that heartbreak. It's not. Now, with that being all said, I'm looking into tomorrow to be a part of my stream rotation. Well, Tuesdays to be a part of my stream rotation. And I think I'm going to start utilizing that space to give y'all a place to talk to me and really have a full conversation. And I'll be more receptive and listening during that time than I am right now. Because you can't pretend insanity away. And some things need the conversation. But if I decide to, if that's something y'all would like, say it in the chat, whatever. Feel free to do ! Socials, Discord, all that good stuff. And let's be clear here before I forget. I know it seems late, but this stream is intended for 18 plus viewers. There may be strong language present. I only represent my views, statements, or opinions. Statement, views, and opinions made by chat or other players in stream are theirs alone and are not a reflection of KantramaGaming, or its affiliates. But today we ain't playing no games. We just gonna look at it and go, I'm sorry that this happened. And I hope y'all know that it's safer to be yourself than it is to be somebody else, because you cannot bear the weight of consequence of a life you do not actually live. You can't. So with that being said, y'all be easy. And I'll see y'all, you know what? I'm gonna pop in tomorrow and do a quick check-in with everybody. I'm gonna be on my chill shit. I'll be gaming, whether it's on Xbox or PC, whatever. I'm gonna be gaming. If y'all want to talk, we could talk. I will literally stop what I'm doing to have that conversation if y'all want to talk. But in the meantime, rest easy, okay? And thank you for not starting trouble in my goddamn house. Have a good night.